Welcome to Action Hero, the podcast where we, get our fix of the most addictive action stories out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Adrian,
Oh, okay.
and I'm all about those stories that keep you on the edge of your seat, those real thrillers.
Yeah.
With me today is the action expert herself, Julia.
Hey, everyone.
Julia, are you ready for a story that blends classic revenge with some modern-day twists?
Oh, always up for a good dose of action, Adrian.
Okay, so imagine this. You inherit a fortune.
Okay.
Sounds pretty sweet, right?
Yeah.
But what if that fortune came with a generations-long vendetta?
Ooh.
That's the situation our protagonist finds herself in, inheriting not just wealth, but the legacy of Edmond Dantès.
Ooh.
Yeah, Edmond Dantès, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh.
We're looking at Blood Legacy, a story inspired by that classic tale of revenge.
Okay.
But here's the twist. Our protagonist is the last of the Dantès line,
Okay.
and she's about to unleash a whirlwind of vengeance.
So we're not just talking about settling a score. We're talking about stepping into a lineage of, calculated retribution.
Exactly. Our protagonist starts as an art student,
Okay.
living a normal life.
Mm-hmm.
But then everything changes.
Oh.
She's framed, imprisoned, and suddenly thrust into this world of shadows and secrets.
It's interesting how this story takes the classic framed and imprisoned trope and turns it on its head.
Right.
Instead of simply escaping and seeking justice, she uses this experience to transform herself.
Yeah, she becomes a master strategist and a weapon-wielding avenger.
Wow.
She's not just inheriting money, she's inheriting a blueprint for revenge,
Yeah.
a philosophy passed down through generations.
It reminds me of how Batman inherited his wealth and used it to fight crime, but in this case, it's so much more personal.
Oh, for sure. And she takes that blueprint and adapts it to the 21st century.
Okay.
She uses her wealth to train, to gather resources, and meticulously plan her revenge.
It's almost like she's taking the Count of Monte Cristo's playbook and adding her own unique flair to it.
Absolutely. And one of the things I found fascinating is how she uses high society as her weapon.
Ooh, interesting.
Think about it. Elegant galas, exclusive auctions, all these glamorous events become opportunities for takedowns.
It's like she's playing a chess game, but the board is the world of the elite, and the pieces are her enemies.
And she's always thinking several moves ahead.
Wow.
She uses her social standing to get close to her targets, and then bam, she strikes.
It's a clever twist on the master of disguise trope. Instead of hiding in plain sight, she's using her wealth and privilege as a camouflage.
It's brilliant, but she's not just facing some random villains here.
Okay.
Her antagonists are the Foundation. Let me tell you, they are a force to be reckoned with.
The Foundation is like a Hydra cut off one head and two more grow back.
They have their fingers in everything. Politics, finance, media, you name it.
Wow.
They're like the puppet masters behind the scenes.
And they're not afraid to silence anyone who gets in their way.
Exactly. They've been operating in the shadows for generations, accumulating wealth and power.
Their reach is vast and their influence runs deep.
So our protagonist isn't just facing one enemy, she's facing a legacy of evil.
And she's fighting back with a vengeance.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking meticulously planned accidents, leaks, scandals, and people vanishing without a trace.
What's really striking about these acts of revenge is the precision involved.
Right.
There's a sense that she's not just lashing out in anger. She's carefully dismantling this organization piece by piece.
It's like watching a surgeon operate, but instead of a scalpel, she's using information, wealth, and manipulation as her tools.
Oh, wow.
Remember that art student we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Well, she's gone.
She's transformed.
In her place is someone forged in fire, fueled by a desire for justice that burns hotter than anything.
She's become a predator, and the world of high society is her hunting ground.
Exactly.
I'm already hooked. What kind of impact does this mission have on her, though? I can't imagine it's easy to live with that level of intensity.
That's a great question, and it's something we'll explore more in the next part, because the path to revenge is never straightforward, and it comes with a heavy price. But before we get there, let's take a closer look at some of her most memorable acts of vengeance. We're talking about moments that will leave you speechless.
And we'll start to unravel the secrets behind the Foundation's enduring power. How have they managed to stay hidden for so long, and what exactly are they trying to achieve?
We'll be getting into all of that and more right after.
Ooh.
Stay tuned, action fans. The best is yet to come.
Can't wait.
Buckle up.
Welcome back to Action Hero, where we're exploring the world of Blood Legacy and the high-stakes game of revenge our protagonist is playing.
Yeah, we left off talking about her transformation from art student to a force to be reckoned with. But I want to get into the psychological impact of her mission. Inheriting a legacy of vengeance can't be easy.
Right, it's not just about learning how to fight or strategize. It's about carrying the weight of generations of anger and resentment. Imagine that burden, that constant need for retribution echoing in your mind.
It really makes you wonder how much of her drive comes from a genuine desire for justice and how much is fueled by this inherited rage.
It's like she's wrestling with the ghost of Edmond Dantès pushing her forward.
And the story doesn't shy away from the darkness that comes with that. That there are moments where you see her relish the chaos she's creating, almost like she's enjoying the pain she's inflicting.
Yeah, there's a line where she compares herself to a viper, poisoning the lives of her enemies.
It's chilling,
Yeah.
but it also speaks to the transformation she's undergone.
It does.
She's not just seeking justice. She's become a weapon of vengeance, wielding her inherited wealth and knowledge to devastating effect.
Right. And that brings us to the question of her relationship with Edmond Dantès. It's fascinating how the story uses him as both inspiration and a cautionary tale. On one hand, she sees him as a model, a blueprint for how to orchestrate the perfect revenge. He's like a patron saint of payback.
But at the same time, you can sense this underlying tension, this awareness that his path led to isolation and bitterness.
Exactly. It's like she's trying to learn from his successes while avoiding his mistakes.
Right, and that's where her 21st century approach comes in.
Okay.
She's not just relying on disguises and secret identities.
Right.
She's using technology and social media to manipulate events, turning information into a weapon just as deadly as any sword or gun.
That's a good point. Think about it. A carefully timed leak, a viral smear campaign. These things can ruin reputations and topple empires.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And it makes you wonder, how vulnerable are we to these kinds of tactics in the real world? How much of our lives are shaped by unseen forces pulling the strings?
Especially with organizations like the Foundation lurking in the shadows.
Let's talk about them. We've touched on their vast reach and influence, but what's really terrifying is their generational aspect.
They're not just a group of individuals. They're an institution built on secrets and corruption passed down through families.
It's like a hidden dynasty working behind the scenes to maintain their power and control.
And each generation adds to that legacy of darkness, making them even more formidable.
It's no wonder they've managed to stay hidden for so long. They have their roots in every corner of society.
And they're ruthless in protecting their interests. Anyone who dares to challenge them ends up silenced, erased from history.
So our protagonist isn't just fighting a few bad guys. She's taking on a system that's been ingrained for decades.
Which makes her task that much more daunting. It's like trying to dismantle a spiderweb strand by strand.
Right, but she's not backing down. She's using their own tactics against them, turning their secrets into weapons.
And she's willing to go to extreme lengths to expose them, even if it means blurring the lines between justice and vengeance.
Which brings us back to that central question. Can she break free from the cycle of violence that's been passed down to her?
Or will she become another victim consumed by the same darkness that drove her ancestors?
And what are the consequences for her soul? Because revenge, even when justified, can leave scars that run deep.
It's a question that hangs over everything she does, and it's something we'll continue to explore as we dive deeper into the world of Blood Legacy.
Because this story isn't just about thrilling action and clever schemes.
Yeah.
It's about the burden of legacy, the cost of justice, and the choices we make when confronted with the darkness within ourselves and the world around us. Welcome back to Action Hero, where we're unpacking the morally complex world of Blood Legacy. We've talked about the protagonist's transformation, her intricate schemes, and the shadowy organization she's up against.
But now let's face the ethical dilemmas at the heart of this story, because revenge, no matter how justified it seems, always has a dark side.
Exactly. This story doesn't shy away from the consequences of her actions. She might be targeting corrupt individuals, but her methods are undeniably brutal.
Right. It makes you think, where's the line between justice and vengeance? Does it get blurred when you're fighting a system that seems designed to protect the powerful?
Yeah, we see her struggling with this internally. There are times when she seems to relish the pain she inflicts. Like when she talks about her enemies reaping what they've sown. It's chilling stuff.
It is, but it also forces us to examine our own capacity for ruthlessness. Would we be any different in her shoes?
That's what makes Blood Legacy so thought-provoking.
Yeah.
It doesn't offer easy answers. It challenges us to question our own moral compass.
And it highlights the cyclical nature of violence. The Foundation itself is a product of generations of greed and betrayal.
So you have to wonder, is our protagonist simply perpetuating that cycle by seeking revenge? Is she becoming the very thing she's fighting against?
That's the age-old question. Can you truly achieve justice through vengeance, or does it always lead to more darkness?
These are questions that have haunted humanity for centuries. They're woven into our myths, our legends, our history.
Think about classic revenge stories like The Count of Monte Cristo or Hamlet. They captivate us because they tap into something primal, a desire for retribution.
But they also serve as cautionary tales. They show us how the pursuit of vengeance can consume you, isolate you, even destroy you.
And in Blood Legacy, we see the struggle play out in a modern context. The protagonist's quest for justice is intertwined with this inherited rage, this burden of her family's past.
So where does she end up? Does she find peace? Or does the darkness win?
The story leaves us on a bit of a cliffhanger. She's weakened the foundation, but they're not completely defeated, and she's definitely changed, hardened by the battles she's fought.
It's left to us, the audience, to ponder what happens next. Does she manage to break free from the cycle of violence, or does she become another link in the chain?
That's the brilliance of the story. It sparks these questions. It challenges us to think about the choices we'd make in similar circumstances.
Because ultimately, Blood Legacy isn't just an action-packed thriller. It's a reflection on the human condition or capacity for both good and evil.
It reminds us that even when facing unimaginable injustice, we have the power to choose our path, to choose who we want to be.
It's a powerful message, and one that'll stay with you long after you finish the story.
Absolutely, and that's what great action stories do. They entertain us, sure, but they also make us think, make us feel, and make us question.
Well said, Julia. Thanks for taking this journey into the world of Blood Legacy with me.
It's been a pleasure, Adrian. Always a thrill to explore these morally gray areas with you.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on Action Hero. We hope you enjoyed this exploration of vengeance, justice, and the power of choice. Remember to rate and follow us for more epic discussions on the most addictive action stories out there. Until next time, stay action-packed.